That was a hugely significant weekend in Cape Town's electronic music scene industry ever. Probably one of the biggest. That is the first time, I think, of my memory that I ever can recall that you have two events, both drawing that kind of numbers, like, you know, huge. That was like almost 10,000, plus minus 10,000 per show on the same weekend. Both sold out, both packed out, and it was just electronic music. There's no live music, no acoustic, nothing, no bands. That was electronic music start to finish. 5, 6 years ago, couldn't dream of that.
Mark Stevens, aka Niscorone, was born and raised in Mitchell's Plain, part of the so-called Cape Flats on the outskirts of Cape Town. This area suffers from high levels of crime related to gangsterism and drug abuse. Growing up, music became an escape for Stevens.
I remember being a kid, being very young, and I would go to my aunts and stuff like that and visit them. And I remember my aunt used to have a big record collection, like massive, like all the old school hits, Michael Jackson, you name it, she had it. And instead of playing outside with my cousins, I'd rather sit inside and just listen to music. That's all. That was for some reason, that was what made me happy. And this is me at like 8, 9, 10 years old. That's all I wanted to do, you know.
Stevens matriculated from Rocklands High School, and while pulling in double shifts as a waiter, DJing remained a hobby. A few years later, the opportunity to make music full-time presented itself.
It was very scary, like in the sense of like, you take a big risk, because now suddenly what is essentially your hobby and something you do love, you're turning into a career, so it becomes your job, you know. So there's always that risk that, like, that you might lose the passion, because now it's like, oh my God, I have to wake up and do this and to earn money. Do you know what I mean?
In Cape Town, there's a large creative industry, a lot of people who want to be DJs. What advice do you have for them trying to take it to the next level? It's very hard, as you said, for people to get exposure, for them to network with the right people. For you, in the last 2 years, it seems that you've been gaining a lot of ground in exposure and momentum. What for you is the key element that people need to address before trying to get their music out there and build a name for themselves?
For artists coming up, I will always say the first thing is like, just be good at what you do and be confident about what you do first. That's the first step. If you have that down, then just keep at it, and then the networking, that side of it all comes in. Don't be afraid to put your music out there. You know, don't be afraid. Once you're confident about what you've done and you think it's ready, put it out there. What I've noticed that happens a lot now is that a lot of up-and-coming artists around the world are connecting with each other first, before they're connecting with people like their idols. They're connecting with each other first. So through mediums like SoundCloud, they'll find, hey, you write the same music as me. We're both in the same kind of tip. We're both starting out, but you live in Russia. Let's write a track together. And people do.